Hi guys, this is Shai Danon from Raising the Frequency, and I'm here with Michael Geno from Insight to Israel and Beyond, and with Barak Cohen, straight from Greece. Michael is in Romania, Barak is in Greece, and myself in Israel. We're going to have this interesting discussion, I should say, about Jews, about Goy, about war and peace, about freedom, liberty, about human rights, about what the fuck is going on, guys. Let's start. See you in a bit. Michael, Barak, how you doing, guys?
Doing fantastic, my brother. It's good to see you, Shai. It's been a while.
It's been a while, although we communicated here and there. But yes, it's been a while, and obviously many things have happened during this while. So, yes, looking forward for this discussion. Barak, how you doing?
Well, my heart is heavy. I can laugh, I can giggle, but there is a sadness and empathy to the people who are in unbelievable suffer and the people that are in unbelievable situation now. Like we have, they say somewhere between 200 to 300 Israeli children, women, elderly people, men that are hostage in the most horrific conditions. And I can feel the sadness, especially for the children. When I see these innocent faces, and I know that they are with these monsters over there, and who knows what's going on there. Some of them, their parents being murdered in front of their eyes, and they are there now with these people that have zero compassion, zero morality, any human values. They are completely deprived of. So I feel sadness, yeah, that's kind of the underlying experience I have.
Yeah, obviously the circumstances we having this conversation in are should be different. Yeah, things are a bit heavy. I agree, and I'm in Israel, so obviously things are heavier for me, but actually they are much, much heavier for those who were kidnapped and those who are still there, and God knows what they're going through. And for the families obviously still in Israel, looking for any bit of hope to release them or any bit of action from the government and the army to bring them back. We shall see what's going to happen about that. You know, I was talking to a neighbor of mine just today, a couple of hours ago, and he's in the military. I mean, he's in the, how you say, in the miluim. He's not like he's not a young boy, you know. He's like he was just recruited, and to strengthen the army lines, and he just got a new daughter. The third daughter was born, and he told me, you know, at the beginning on Saturday morning, the 7th of October, there was this short window that Israel should have bombed everything. But this window has closed. After a few hours or a couple of days, this window is gone. And now it's everybody is going to suffer more, everybody, because it could have been finished within a day or two. With all the suffering and the sadness in saying what I'm saying, it's as if I'm saying it without compassion, but believe me, I have. Sometimes you wish you were dead and not going through various experiences, if you can say experiences, to these things. And I totally agreed with him, you know, because if Israel would react as an Israeli Jewish state, I should say, and we go to that matter in a second, but if Israel would really want, as a state, as an army, as a government, would really want to save lives of Jews in Israel, or to protect lives and land and settlements and kibbutzes and moshavs, etc., in Israel, and towns and cities, because that's what's going on now, things would have done totally differently before 7th of October and definitely after, but also before that. Michael, thanks for this opportunity. I mean, all my Facebook pages and profiles were deleted by Facebook. This was 2 weeks ago when I was given updates from Israel about what's happening. Facebook deleted all my pages, and I had like more than 30,000 followers. Over the last, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 years, I've been collecting followers without putting money into Facebook, just, you know, this journalistic work I've been doing. So it was all deleted. So thanks for, again, I can connect on your page, especially when I do broadcasts in English. So I can share some stuff, obviously you too, with your audience, which I think is a really loyal audience. So all of you out there who following Michael and Insight to Israel and Beyond, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting Michael and the work he does. And to be honest, let's start, Michael. Maybe probably you want to ask things about stuff in Israel and the way maybe I see them or perceive them, and Barak can also help here. But I would like first to ask, if you don't mind, to ask you a question, just to clear it out of the way. Over the years, we've been doing few talks like that, and I know your views, but I know also some people, some Jewish people, Israeli people, whether live in Israel or abroad, they call you sometimes anti-Semites, or your remarks, they call them anti-Semitic remarks. Can you clear it out for all of us? And I will ask a few questions, like short ones, and you will dive into them and answer from your heart, from your head, from wherever you want.
My fire.
Do you love Israel? Do you love Israelis? Do you love Israel government? Do you like the land? Do you like the Jewish people or not? Do you think the land of Israel should be in the hands of the Israeli people? Should it be in the hands of the Israeli government? Do you see any difference between the Israeli government and Israel, the people, the nation? Any difference between the state of Israel or the government of Israel and the land, the promised land, if you like? Do you see, if you see any difference, I think it's a good time to differentiate and to put these differences, because many people are confused nowadays. They can support Israel, but they don't see the differences between the action and the agenda of the Israeli government and its puppeteer and the Israeli people. So if you can dive into it for a bit and take your time and tell us about how you see things before I go into it, how you see things about the people of Israel, the government of Israel, the state of Israel, the Bible, the Jewish people. I think this is really, really important for all of us. Thank you. Please.
No, I appreciate it, Shai, and I want to say thank you to you and Barak for being on. I don't think Barak and I have been formally introduced before this. But, you know, a lot of, when I really came into contact starting in 2020, and wow, listen, for anyone, not one eye, for anyone who has their eyes and their heart open, 2020 changed everything for all of us. And I want to say this as someone, as a man who, hold on one second, who believes in the good book. God gave us a gift to have our eyes opened. So a lot of people actually really, Insight to Israel, it used to just be called Insight to Israel and then subheading Chocolates for Heroes. But anyone who started following me in 2020 knows pretty much nothing about my beginning in 2012, when I worked in politics in Washington, D.C. I worked in politics altogether almost 12 years, but lived in Washington, D.C. several years. Got tired of that, paid off all my debts, moved to Israel in 2012 with $600 in my pocket, didn't know anyone. And no, this is not an Illuminati symbol. I just kind of do that because I talk with my hands for all those who are watching. And so I went to Israel with $600 in my pocket. I started cleaning toilets, started my own cleaning business. After working for someone, I said, no way, I want to work for myself, which I'd never done before. Graduated, got into modeling and acting at 45. Did that for 7 years and actually gained notoriety. And that's how I supported myself as an independent journalist. So with that, I started a program called Chocolates for Heroes, where people from around the world would send me notes of love, prayers, and support to the Israeli soldiers. We would put a picture of the person. I say we, I did it all myself. We'd put a picture of the person, their note, their name, and what country they're from. And when that program started, I was invited to bases all over the country to speak to the soldiers, encourage them. I've been on the front lines of war where no other journalist has. On Kibbutz Sufa in 2014, I'm the only journalist to sue Al Jazeera for fake news in the Israeli court, winning and setting legal precedent. So from 2012 to 2022, when I was released from Israel because they want all the foreign journalists vaccinated, and I told them people in hell want ice water too, but that's not going to happen. So, you know, I have a long history in Israel, and I have credibility. I have street credibility. Okay. I've been in the fight. But when I found out in 2020, my view of my country changed, my view of Israel changed. And I have to tell you, I was on the front lines with unvaccinated Jews who refused to comply to an evil and wicked government who used their people first. I've got the video from the World Economic Forum website. I've got the contract pulled right off the Israeli government website with Pfizer, which is redacted highly. Okay. I've got the agreement with the World Economic Forum right off the government website to provide all the AI technology. So anyone that tries to come at me and tell me I'm an anti-Semite, and listen, call me that. Come on my show, make comments, but I can show you item after item after item, which is not my opinion, but comes directly out of the Israeli media, the Israeli government, and the connections between the Israeli government and communist China. The Israeli government dropped the dollar as its reserve currency in 2021. In October, I was the first journalist to cover, the only journalist actually that's not Jewish and Hebrew speaking to cover it. So to say that Israel and the government are a friend to America, and anyone, all of you Christian Zionists out there, you are highly deceived. So are many of the Israeli people. Okay, and for that I cannot help. That's between you and God. You got to settle that in eternity.
But why don't you say the Israeli government? When you say Israel, is a friend of America, why don't you differentiate and say the Israeli government is not a friend to America?
Great point. And I apologize. Let me backtrack. Okay, let me scratch that out. Israeli government. Now, at the end of the day, my loyalties only lie, for the most part, minus a few, let me emphasize that, with the unvaccinated Jews. Because I stood with them. Many of us stood together. We were arrested. We were water cannoned. We were beat down. We were kicked out. And so, you know, for me, the rest of the country, I love them. It's not a loss of love. But my loyalties are with those who refuse to comply at the end of the day, for the most part. I'm sorry for what's happening now, but the reality is, and I'm going to shut up after this, you know, to label an anti-Semite white, because the essence of this all comes down to, I disagree. I had an Israeli friend of mine who's also a convert. Okay. I don't believe in converts. I think it's a sick joke for someone that has no Jewish blood in them or background to all of a sudden become a religious Jew. Now you can mark on your birth certificate that you're Jewish and claim 2,000 years of persecution. Okay, I just want to get that out of the way. It's sick. You're no more a Jew than I am a man putting on a dress and saying I'm a woman. But I had a convert tell me, you can't talk about us because you're not one of us. So, you know, to me, what it all comes down to is I show evidence. This is not about Jew hating. This is about showing a Jewish government which screams victimhood, that victimizes its own people and murdered and damaged its own people with an injection. okay, and how I and many of them were treated. So you can call me an anti-Semite all you want, but when I show facts and then you turn around and have nothing to comply with that against those facts and call me an anti-Semite, you know what it's like? It's like the little kid who runs up to the big kid who hits him and runs away and says, "I'll get my brother after you." I'm all finished.
So a quick question before I comment and I dive into more of these things. Do you have the same anger or the same passion towards the American government to push people into these injections, or the British government to push?
I'm busting on. Listen, let me tell you this. My focus is two things. Number one, Israel. Look, at the end of the day, it comes for me. Okay, Israel's ground zero for all things. AI, injections. You were the test case. Trump right now. And I've connected all the dots. All the dots connect back to the government of Israel. Directly back. Do you know why Trump never fired Fauci? Fauci got millions of dollars from Sheba Hospital and Jewish groups in the United States for fighting disinformation and standing strong during Corona. That's why Trump never fired Fauci. Okay? Trump is directly tied with the state of Israel. It's that simple. He still denies that the vaccines don't work. He said they work. They work. So listen. I take on, and I'm trying to calm myself down, because when the deeper I dig, the stupider and darker it gets. And I have no compassion and zero tolerance, compassion in 2023 for any Christian. You're an idiot. Okay, you're a buffoon. All right. Anyone who's Trump, that's your Messiah. America, he will be the last nail in the coffin for you. I promise you. And you know what? I'm excited. You know why? Because I know what's right. I know what's true. I've been preparing for this my whole life. I knew it would come. I didn't know what form it would come in. But now we're here. So you know what? I'm ready over my country, over the world. I will die for this truth. Okay, I know what I believe. I'm a solid man. I'm 53 years old. You're not going to get it out of me. I'm going to roast marshmallows over your civilization, global community. All right? Because I'm going to die anyway, and I know where I stand with the Almighty. I know it. All right? So I'm not scared of it.
All right.
And let me say this real quick. I'm sorry for what happened to those families down on the Gaza. But, you know, we already know what Hamas wants to do to the Jewish people. We already know that, okay? But if you're so distracted, and I've got a lot of people messaging me, no, we need to go after Hamas. I say, no, you need to go after the root of the problem. You got a sickness, you need to go after the root of the problem. Your military and your government stood down for 6 to 9 hours and let them slaughter you. And right now, you should be storming the Knesset. You should be storming the Knesset before you do any military operation and holding your leaders accountable.
All right, catch your breath.
Can I say something, Shai?
Yes, but quickly, I will let you. Of course, you can say. I also want to comment to Michael, and I want to show some comments here that people commented on your words, Michael. And meanwhile, I'm looking for a specific item by Rabbi Shlomo Karlibach. It's in English, and I want to show it. But Barak, meanwhile, yes, please comment, and I will do all the things. Michael, you can see some comments also on the screen, please. All right?
Well, Michael, I've seen some of your videos, and you mention a lot the word Jewish as the bad guys. And I think you are doing wrong to the Jewish people by singling a few rotten apples. And when you mention Jewish, you can include all of us inside it, because, as you also put it, we are the victim of the same people. We are also puzzled how come the president of Pfizer is a Jew, the president of Goldman Sachs is a Jew, the head of so many medias, and see, look at this absurd. These people, usually they are supporting a very anti-Israeli, extreme leftist agendas. The media in the West overall is very anti-Israeli in an unobjective way. They actually lie and so one-sided that it is criminal, and they are all by Jews. And even now I saw some people in the US demonstrate free Palestine. So the thing is, people have a few identities. You know, you can be, before you're a Jew, maybe you are a man or a human. So I think that these people that you take one of their identity, which might be very superficial for them. They might have been born into a Jewish family, but they have no connection to Judaism really. And they might have been initiated to a different secret society and a cult. And maybe they are even imposters, and they just call themselves Jews, but by behind the scene, they are completely Satanists, something like that. And I've seen videos of you recently, you say the Jews, the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. So what people can get out of you is Jew hate, you know, because you don't take the effort let me to distinguish.
How many times, see, here, this is selective hearing, and Brock, everything we're talking about, you know, it's not personal. We're bigger than that, okay? Someone calls me an anti-Semite, like, whatever, okay? I got the goods. My point is this. If I was talking about Italians, if I was talking about how corrupt the Italian government was, I guarantee, or Poles, I've done interviews all over Europe, and they talk about how corrupt our Polish government is, or how corrupt our Italian government is. And if I, as a non-Italian or non-Pole, said the same thing, I would say the Italians are corrupt. You know how many Italians would come back to me and say, yep, we are. Yep, we are. Listen, I distinguish. I said in my speech, whatever you want to call it, I said I stood with Jews. I stood with Jews that didn't vaccinate. Those are the ones I stand with. I made the distinction. Sometimes, and I say this with all due respect, because I learned this, especially starting in 2020, there's select hearing. There's select hearing. Now, I do, and I did correct myself. Yes, in pretty much all my videos, I distinguish between the Israeli government and the Jewish people fighting for freedom, which I stand with unvaccinated Jews. And a few vaccinated. I had them come to me. Listen, people I love very dearly after 9 years that my family took it. And I don't soften the message even for them. They just, Michael, I love you. I can't watch your Facebook. Okay, I love you. Hugs. Okay? So we got to toughen up. You better toughen up. I'm telling you what's coming next. I'm telling you the same Jews that vaccinated who are
we're on the same page.
I agree. Okay. So my point is that, you know, I distinguish. And I have in this lecture, when I was talking, I distinguished. So, but here's the denial. Go ahead. I'm
not an expert of your broadcast. I've seen couple of things, and it stood up to me that I didn't feel that you emphasize this distinction, and I think it's important in order not to
absolutely
to make the victim even more victim. You know, I hear people like in the West, because there was probably a collaboration between the secret government in Israel and the deep state in the army, allowed the Hamas to do what they did in Israel in order to create a war. So they completely washed the responsibility from the Arab in Gaza, so-called Palestinians, for the massacre Holocaust they did. Yeah, they murdered 1,800 people about. So it's not their fault, and I think this is ridiculous.
Barak,
I'm not saying you saying it. I'm saying people saying it.
I understand. First of all, I want to answer a comment here. When Israel falls, all the West falls. Excuse me, Miss Angela Richardson. My first question to you is, how many times did you vax? And if you didn't, maybe if you continue this mindset, the West is fallen. America is finished. Okay? Israel is finished. Listen, again, let me emphasize. This 9/11 thing, it is a cartload of horse dung. 9/11 started when 85% of the country injected and did not fight back against their corrupt, evil government. Actually, let me say this. After being there on the front lines of war, these questions come. If the Israeli military is so great, imagine, and I want to emphasize this because, you know, it's always when you're the victim, and I'm not talking to you, Barack. It's always when the Jews are the victim that they're crying that everybody has to come to their aid and bend their knee. All right? But by God, when they're corrupt, when the hierarchies of the government are corrupt, you know, we can't. I actually had a donor of mine who's not vaccinated. He said, Michael, you say the word Jews, Jews, Jews. And I said, okay, so are you not the Jewish state? Are you not? Well, of course we are. So let me see how this works. So if it's something good, I'm allowed to use the word Jew or Jewish all day long. But if it's something bad, then I have to use the word Israeli. Is that how it works? He said, yes. I said, you know what? Keep your money. I'm tired of the double standard. Because I thought, I stood with the same people.
You can use the word Jew.
Anyway.
But
I want to, if you don't mind,
use the word Jew, but you have to be more specific.
I hate the 9/11 thing. I hate it's a sick joke. The Holocaust. Listen, I'm sick and tired of hearing about the Holocaust.
Yeah, 9/11 wasn't.
Hold on a second. When I know that thousands of Jews in Israel were sliced open, injected, thousands, God knows probably 1 million, because 500,000 Jewish children were given an illegal hepatitis B vaccine by a Jewish pharma company in Israel, injected illegally without consent, and now they're sick and dying. Okay, so I don't. Go ahead.
Let me jump in, guys. Yes.
Well, I just get excited, so it's not personal.
No, that's cool. That's cool. It's passion. That's
no problem. Passion is genuine. I like passion. It's good.
But it's facts. Yeah. But I'm coupling that with truth. Go ahead.
I wanna say a few things, if you don't mind, and I want to show also a quick video. But I think first let me clear the air a bit. Few things. Even us here in Israel, Jews, not Jews, doesn't matter now. But the people of Israel, they started to realize in the last 4 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, but recently, that we've been fooled, we've been deceived, we have been put traps, and we fell into them again and again and again, and the majority is still falling into the traps being laid by the government or those behind the government. It doesn't matter if it's the politicians, it's the media, we're talking about those who hold the government in the balls, those who blackmail them, tell them what to do, for whatever reason. And people of Israel have started to realize that they've been fooled not so long ago, more and more obviously since 2020. Now, I guess this is in Greece, right, Barak? This is from you.
Anyway. Yes, it was a motorcycle here, yeah.
Yeah, it's not your rear end. Anyway, so basically, when I come and say what Michael is saying, I'm just, how to say, judging my government or criticizing the actions of my government because A, I'm an Israeli, B, I'm Jewish. I love the land of Israel. I love the people of Israel. I love even the Arabs who live here and the Bedouins and I love the Druze and the, you know, we were told that this is your land, this is our land, and you should keep it, work it, and keep it. And you have to take care of all the foreigners who live here. Doesn't matter which origin they are, not to kill them, but to take care of them. If they don't have shelter, we should provide them. If they don't have work, we should provide them with shelter and food until there is work for their own, you know, livelihood, etc. So when I come and say things Michael is saying, I'm just criticizing the government. When Michael is saying the things he's saying with the passion, obviously he comes with, and the anger, and it's totally understandable, then he's being judged also as anti-Semite. Now, I can say the same things as Michael and sometimes even worse, and I've been saying even worse things than Michael over the years, But, you know, it's one thing when I say it, and it's another thing when Michael is saying that. So this is one thing just to keep in mind. The second thing, even David Icke, since, I don't know, maybe 4 years or 3 years, I've been conducting few interviews with him, and he's with me. But even David Icke, you know, the great David Icke, even he has learned in the last few years that there is a difference between Jews and Zionists. Okay? Hang on, Insight to Israel. 1 second, lost. Connect. 1 second, Michael. I'm reconnecting to your page on Facebook. Sorry. Okay, it's connected. All right. So even David Icke has learned through the interviews he conducted with me that there's a difference between Jews and Zionists.
Absolutely.
And it happens to be, so I learn, I don't know if it's 100% truth, but the government of Israel is rolling out an agenda which is anti-Jewish, anti-Yehudi, anti-Hebrew,
what does that mean?
Anti-Israelite. So it's pro-Zionist, and Zionism as a movement, although it has some good things in it and good people in it, like really genuine good people.
There's always a little sugar on the poison.
You can say that, but because the Zionist agenda is to annihilate the Jews and the Torah, which is the foundation of morality for Christians and Islam. So when you learn this, and I'm saying David Icke has learned this over the last 3 years, you can see that some of his wordings have changed over the years, okay? So this is another thing, because once you learn the differences here, you start to choose your words differently, maybe wiser, you know, you become wiser in how you choose your words. And it's true, and Michael, I hold the same anger and criticism for the Israeli government, regardless of whether they're Jewish or Zionist or Christians or doesn't matter. If they're cooperating with an enemy which has an evil agenda, hidden or out in the open, to kill me, obviously I will be against them, obviously. Now, what happens in the last 3 weeks is upscaling of what has been happening in the last 3.5 years. Yep. What happened in the last 3.5 years is an upscaling of what has been happening, let's say, in the last 75 years, and I'm talking just about Israel now, but actually, it's the whole world. But, as you said, Michael, and I've been saying it for a long time and many times, Israel is first. Israel is first in developing specific weapons and biological weapons and AI and bullshit technology to actually ruin humanity. But the Israeli people are the scapegoats of that, and they're the first ones to get hurt by the stuff that they actually themselves produce, whether it's the AI and the technology and biological weapons, etc. So it happens to be that on one side, we develop weapons to protect us from terrorists or from Arab nations' armies, but we see that these weapons and these technologies are being used also against us. Now, most people are so fucking thick, and sorry for my English, guys, that they don't see even that. And I'm talking about the majority of Israelis, not the world, but maybe also the world. So, actually, what is now happening, the technologies that we developed, we the people, because we work for the government, you know, not me specifically, but many people of Israel, they work in the security, in startup nation companies, in 8200, many units and private organizations and corporations to develop all types of technologies for whatever, to be used against humanity, against the people of Israel and other countries. And what we see today is that the government of Israel, again, has upscaled its war against its people. If some Israelis still think that the government is working for them, sorry, I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way, and I don't need the 7th of October for a proof. I have 2020, you know, the corona, and I have even before that, like you mentioned, the 500,000 kids who got the Cybervac vaccination or injection or poisonous injection. You got the Yemenite children from the Eastern Europe, etc., who were kidnapped and experimented on and various things. So I don't need the proof of 7th of October. But for those who still haven't seen what I was just saying, that the government doesn't work for us and actually they are against us, you have now the 7th of October to reconsider your thoughts and your actions regarding your life in Israel. I want to show a short clip, all right? Because I think this clip by Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, I think it says a lot about the Israelites, the Hebrew people.
I want to comment on one of the comments here. Ronan Migdal. Ronan, I know about the Khazarian theory, but let me challenge you with this, and it's what I stated earlier because you probably didn't catch it. But in modern day Talmudic rabbinical Judaism, okay, anyone that converts, if you have not one drop of Jewish DNA of you, even from your mother or father, you can convert. You can. Listen, I've been told I should convert, and I'm not just saying that. It wasn't off the cuff that it was said. I had religious friends of mine before 2020 that came to me. Listen, Michael, you want to be a citizen? We love what you're doing. Convert. We'll get you in a class 2 hours a day, 2 days a week for 2 years. You can become a Jew. And I said, really? What if okay, you'll have to follow some religious practices. I said, so, okay, what if I go through this process and I stop practicing? Am I still a Jew? And they said, yes. So the Khazarian Jew thing is, listen, you go to them. You can have this theory, but the fact is, let's say this happened. They are Jewish. It's that simple, because that's how modern day rabbinical, Talmudic Judaism sees them. Period. You can argue all day long with me, but go to any Orthodox or ultra-Orthodox Jew, and they will tell you the same, because the spirit at Mount Sinai, listen, it's the biggest load of horse dung sold, not only to their own people, okay, but to the world.
What?
The whole, at Mount Sinai, if you convert, your spirit was at Mount Sinai. That's reincarnation. That's absolutely against the Torah. It's in complete contradiction. If you want to have it, anybody wants to have a theological debate, okay, that's fine. But I'm stating what is as far as conversion goes. But go ahead. I just wanted to clarify that.
Let's see this short video. One second. I want to show this short video because it's good.
Who is right in this war, you know? I'll tell you very simply, objectively speaking, you know, imagine I'm falling down from Mars, coming down. I would interview both sides, right? And I will ask the Egyptians, what do you want to do? All the Arabs, they'll say, we want to kill the Jews. I'll ask the Jews, what do you want to do? Every soldier will say, I want peace. Last week, I was in San Francisco, and I played at a big rally for Israel. There were thousands of Jewish students, non-Jewish students, Japanese students, all kinds, those who have a little bit soul. And on the other side, the Arabs, you know, whenever the Jews made a rally, they have to come there also. So we had just a flag, an Israeli flag, and we were just, and I was singing and talking to the people, and I say, really, all we want is peace in the world, you know, not only peace for us, we want peace for the whole world. And the Arabs had a big flag, and it says, death to the Jews, death to Zionism, death to Israel. They had a long list whom they want to kill. And, you know, it was just, I really felt so deep the difference that we don't want to kill anybody. The holiness of us Jews is that we never hate, despite all the persecution, despite that maybe there's an evil voice telling us, you know, really hate the world, let's really knock them off, you know. Really to just remember you're a child of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and our mission in the world is really to love the world.
Yes, just wanted to put some...
I've seen that video, Shai. Listen, my heart, I know I seem angry sometimes, and I am. And that's not an anger out of bitterness. It's not, or a hard heart, you know. And I don't have to agree with the rabbi religiously. But my heart goes out for the people that are suffering And, you know, I was a pro-Israel journalist from 2012 to 2020. And, you know, I was raised in a certain way. And my heart is with Israel, but I'm forced by circumstance now to narrow, you know, where my emotions lie, where my commitments lie, where my principles lie. And it's very sad because I've watched the Vax Testimonies video of Jews that are damaged crying in Israel, that are damaged and whose lives will never be the same because of what the government did. But we all, listen, at the end of the day, when we die and stand before God in judgment, we will never, unless you're mentally retarded, you will never be able to say to God, the Almighty, the holiness. See, we always talk about God's love. We don't talk about his holiness, you know, but you will never be able to stand before a holy God and say the government lied to me and the media fooled me. But my heart goes out to the ones that were kidnapped. It goes out when I see, listen, these videos are real of little children in the Gaza. They're real. It's real on both sides. And that I want to apologize. And I needed to see, I needed to grow. I needed to be shaken. But I want to apologize for the times that I was not balanced as a journalist and being one-sided. Because at the end of the day, now we know, I'm telling you, folks, unless you lived in Israel, America, you had it a cakewalk. Canada, it was a cakewalk. I know you guys went through it, okay? But I'm telling you, what the Jews went through in Israel was unbelievable. It would not vaccinate. Because I know, because I did videos of it. It's anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing.
Just to say, I want to answer, what's her name? Lindsay. She's saying you were ambushed here because I put this video. So first of all, Lindsay, ask Michael. I don't think he was ambushed. I can tell you he was not ambushed. And I love Michael. I love what he's doing. I'm not against him. We are together on the same side. Absolutely. And if someone comes here and tell you should take an injection, Michael come and fight for me. And if someone comes to Michael and say the same, I will fight with him and for him. So
I'll get physical. I have no problem.
Let's put things straight here. Okay, we are on the same side.
No, I'm not ambushed.
Exactly.
Lindsay, thank you.
Thanks.
I appreciate it. But Lindsay's followed me for years.
No, but what? Again, she's saying because I put this video, it's one-sided. No, it's not, guys. I'm just trying to make a point, and the point is that I've been growing in Israel all my life. Apart from a few years, I live abroad, etc. And I can tell you, really, honestly, I lived in a settlement. My parents have established the settlements in the West Bank, you know, and all this political bullshit. I've been growing with religious Jews and with non-religious Jews, whatever. Basically, we have no will or desire. We, the people, we have no will or desire to kill anyone. Doesn't matter its religion, its origin, its race. I don't care. I don't mind. I want to live my life. I want to pick grapes and, you know, from the vine, and that's it. And it seems to be that generations after generations in Arab nations, not specifically Gaza or Hamas or Palestine, doesn't matter. They are growing up thinking, believing that we are the enemy and we should be killed, we should be pushed to the sea, we are not supposed to be here, etc. Now, it may be true for the Zionist movement, Rothschild, the UK, British Empire, with the Ottoman Empire before that, etc. But let me tell you one thing, and we can set it clear. There was never a Palestinian nation, never in history.
Right.
Palestine is a big chunk of land being called by that name by the Romans. So you used to have a Hebrew Palestinian, or not Israel, you can say Israeli Palestinian, doesn't matter. Egyptian Palestinian, Jordanian Palestinian, Syrian Palestinian, Lebanese Palestinian, etc. Palestine as a nation, as we've been shoved down our throat this agenda, okay, since let's say the first intifada in the 80s, let's say 50 years, but it started even before that, let's say 60 years. There was never a Palestinian nation. They had no currency, no government, no history, no archaeology.
Let me ask you something here. This is where I'm confused, because I agree with what you're saying. At the same time, Golda Meir, I think it was Golda Meir that said, I have a Palestinian passport. I mean, don't you have to have some kind of legal government?
Because you can be, and you can be not an Israeli Palestine, Shai, but you can be my father.
No, I'm talking about
because he was born before they founded Israel. Yeah, you are Jew. Basically, Palestine is a Roman name to the region. So before they founded Israel, which is just another name to Palestine, anybody who was born there was Palestinian. My father is a Jewish Palestinian. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not a country.
But they had actual ID cards and passports.
Yes. Definitely. There was a Jewish currency with the name Palestine on it. You can see with the Jewish symbols. I'm sorry, there is somebody parking here suddenly.
My question is, and I'm just asking because of what Shah said, there was no established government, there was not this, there was not that. Okay, but how do you have a currency? How do you have a passport or an ID without an established government? What was that situation at that time? Because this is something I've never been prompted to ask for any reason. I just, look, there's a lot of things that I assumed, but go ahead.
Barak.
Well, basically, there was some currency. We see coins from that period. I don't know if it was like the British time or before, but there was a currency. I want to say something about Zionism. People think because Zionism have so much negative connotation, so it's basically delegitimize the right for the Jewish people for self-determination in Israel. Israel is Palestine, Palestine is Israel. So every people say, I'm anti-Zionist, because they are anti all the bad stuff that is the connotation with Zionism. So I want to differentiate between two types of Zionism. There is Zionism that they are the globalist, neocons, that try to make the New World Order one world government. And there is the Zionist that was a ground-root movement that started in the 1800s of Jews from all over the world to come and settle back in the homeland. And I want to say that there is this historical lie, there is a lot of historical lies that people think that Palestine was full with Muslim Arabs, and then the Jews, the white Jews from Europe came and took over a land of those people. And the actual fact is that there was a majority of Jews throughout the ages, especially in the big cities like Jerusalem, Sfat, and other places. And there is other documentation that showed the Jews were the majority of the country, and most of the Arabs who call themselves Palestinians today, they were work immigrants that came in the time of the British in the middle of the 20th century from all over Arab countries, and even further from Albania. And you can see, because they have a family name that indicate in Muslim world, your family name indicate where you come from. So you can see a family name like El Misri, or other common names that are typical for Saudi Arabia today, or Syria, or Iraq, and so on. So first people have to understand that Israel and the Jews, we are the Native Americans, like the Native Americans of the US. It's like some Europeans come and kick them off their land, and after like a few hundred years, they come back, say, this is our land, and people say, well, you are colonial, you are invader. This is our situation. We are the native to the country. Even though I am not a brown or black guy, I am a Kohen, which is mean priest in Hebrew. When they did a DNA test, they found that all Kohens have a similar, they have the same chromosomes. We share some chromosomes. So there is some genetic ancestry. And of course, you know, when Jews lived in Arab country, there were rape. There were probably some kind of a mix between tribes or people. So there are more brown people. And the people who lived in Europe became more white because there were all kinds of circumstance. But still, we have to understand that Israel is the mother land of the Jewish people. It's mentioned hundreds of times in the Bible. It doesn't mention, even in the Quran, when they do mention it, they say, Palestine, it's the land of the Jews, yes? And also another thing I want to really, like, people don't get it. Even David Icke and stuff, they show this little map, and in the little map, they show this green part, and this used to be like the Arab population, and then they see how it's disintegrated, and now it's full of Jews. So two things about this map. First of all, zoom out. Look at the Middle East. If you see the Middle East, Israel is like a speck of dust inside the Middle East, surrounded with Muslim countries. They have 32 countries that are 602 times the size of Israel, and yet they are all want and fight. Oh, this is a Muslim land. You are the conqueror. You took the land from the Muslim, from the poor Arabs. Now, inside Israel, we have now about 1.5 Muslim Arabs, Israeli citizens that have equal right for any citizen in Israel, and even some things are better. So this map is a lie, because there is more Arab Muslim now in Israel than it used to be in 48. And in addition to that, we have the West Bank, which is, they want it as an Arab Muslim land, and you have Gaza as Arab Muslim land. If it was two children playing, and let's say it was Monopoly, and one of the children have 99% of all Monopoly, and he had all the money, and yet he was like fighting with the other child, give me this one little town you have and all the money you have. Anybody who would look say you are not fair, yes? And this is our situation there. And the absurd is that all of this, it became very trendy to be anti-Israeli. You know, you see a lot of progressive Jews in the US go and say, oh, we like really put down Israel, because they just don't understand the context of the situation. Yes.
I want to add something. Look, especially when Simon here is writing, that's why you as Israelis should try and get along with the Muslims. I agree, and I want to add to that. Look, I grew up when I was 10 years old. I moved from a town in the center of Tel Aviv to a settlement. My parents started a settlement with some, bunch of guys, whatever. Okay. The relationships between us and the Arab village and villages around were actually good, were even more than just good. I'll give you examples. Every Friday, I mean, some of them used to work for us because, building houses and gardens, so we need labor. So they worked for us. I worked with them too. For an Israeli gardener, he had Arab workers and Jewish workers. I was one of them, okay, as a youngster, okay, as a teenager. But that's besides the story. So every Friday, the Mukhtar, the head of the village, used to come with his two sons. They were about my age at the time, 10, 11, 12, all right? One younger, one same age. They used to come every Friday to my house, because my father was like the Mukhtar of our village, okay? The head of our village, like. And he used to bring maybe olive oil or some Lebanese cheese or some olives, and my mom used to make him coffee, and they sit in the garden and speak, and I play with his sons, okay? And this be going on for 6-7 years until the first Intifada started. Even after the first Intifada started, we still had good relationship. I mean, to an extent, obviously, but we still kept on working because life goes on. Whether you fight or not, life goes on, and you need to pick fruits from the trees, etc. So what I'm saying is that before the propaganda, the main propaganda of throwing both sides of people, not governments, but people, into war, relationships were actually okay. Now, they were never perfect. Cousins, we fight. Okay, it's in the Bible. We have our history. But we managed to live next to each other in a relative peace. They knew, I'm not sure about today because they got their propaganda as well, but they knew back then that this is our land. I'm telling you seriously, as I grew up, this is not propaganda, this is from them. They knew this is Israelite land, this is the Hebrew people as promised by God, and they also live here with us on the same land, and it's okay. Even though this is considered to be our land, and we are okay to build houses here and and gardens, etc., we live together and we are neighbors. So I used to go and buy in the grocery shop in the Arab village, I used to go and buy cheese and bread. And do you hear what I'm saying? This is in the West Bank. This is not in Jaffa. This is where the Intifada started. Next to where I live, this is where the Intifada started. After it started, I got stones thrown on my car, etc. But before that, I'm saying for 6-7 years, life were okay. They were good. Now, I have friends also. What?
It's like you tell the story, it's very moving, but you miss the point that you have to put the Islamic factor inside the equation. It's not like it was all roses and everything was good. It was under the surface, bubbling.
But listen, I have friends in Neturei Karta. Okay, Neturei Karta is a Jewish sect which is anti-state of Israel. They think the state of Israel should be built only after the Messiah comes.
Messiah. So I almost agree with that.
I know. Put that aside.
I'm not convinced. But
hang on. So a friend of mine, he's like the grandchild of the first rabbi who established Neturei Karta. He's been here, his family been here for 10 or 20 generations. So he told me in person, he said, look, I know about Arabs and Jews here without YouTube, without government propaganda, without Zionists. Before Zionism, before the state of Israel, before YouTube, before we got this propaganda, I know what are Jews and what are Arabs. We live perfectly here. Yes, we fight from time to time. Again, we are cousins from thousands of years and we have our issues. But we managed to live here relatively peacefully until things have changed. And things have changed because of interests, because the British Empire came. This is even after the Ottoman, okay?
And the Americans.
Yes, same agenda.
Yep.
Same agenda. So what I'm trying to, look, there's no saints here, okay? We have done things, they have done things.
I don't agree with you, Shai. You're putting us on an equal place. It's not true. They killed they massacred the Jews Hebron in 1929. Yes? It's not that it was all peaceful and stuff like that. They start really, the Muslim in the country start really being violent when the Jews start coming in big numbers, so there was this fight. But this is a religious war. If you don't understand that this is a religious, if the Jews converted to Islam, there will not be problem. Look, for example, until 1967, the West Bank and Gaza were under Arab countries. The West Bank was under Jordan, Gaza was under Egypt. You didn't hear any claim for the so-called Palestinian people that they want their own state. They didn't do anything against the Arab Egyptian or Arab Jordan. It's only like after 1967 a defense war of Israel that we took over the West Bank that was disputed area. It was owned by the Jordanian, not by the Palestinians. Same thing about Gaza, was part of Egypt, conquered by Egypt. Only then this concept of the Palestinian Muslim as a nation arose, and they start to demand another Arab state, number 33 in the Middle East, on top. When you say free Palestine, you are saying destroy Israel and kill all the Jews. Just so you understand, when you say free Palestine, you mean destruction of Israel. That's it.
Yes, and the Jewish people in Israel, not just Israel as a state, but the Jewish people in Israel. Yeah, Michael is back. I'm just showing a book. I showed it in a Hebrew broadcast I've done recently. It's called Me'az U'Mikedem, in English, From Time Immemorial. All right, you see here the name, okay? And this was written by John Peters about Israel demographic details. And it's about the origins of the conflict, Jewish-Arab conflict in Israel, about the Israeli land or the land of Israel. And what she exposed here, and this book came out on 1984, okay? And what John Peters has exposed here is factual details about our conversation now. Who was here back then, before the state of Israel, for centuries? Who was here? what went on here. And this is due to archaeology and books and handwritings of various visitors here in Israel, etc. So, and this is really, really factual. So I ask everyone who actually want to learn some, this is objective. Okay, she even discovered it herself and she was surprised. This is, I should say, quite objective book, okay? So I encourage you to go and look it up. Again, it's מאז ומקדם in Hebrew, or From Time Immemorial, by John Peters. It's really worth reading, at least even some of it, even if it's not all of it, it's really worth reading. Just to say that, yes. And another thing, one second, I want to show another thing, if you don't mind.
I just shared with you on Messenger some things that can be relevant to what we're saying.
Yes, I'm here on it. Okay, you want to talk about it, Barak?
Yes, this is like everybody who are like poor Muslim, so-called Palestinians, that the Jews came and took their land. We are talking about there is only one Jewish state in the world. This tiny little sliver of green, of blue thing that you see in the center, this is Israel. And in the center of it, there is something called the West Bank that they wanted also as a Muslim land. And in the south, there is another piece called Gaza. They also want it as a Muslim land. And inside this little blue sliver that you see that is called Israel, there is 1.5 million Muslim citizens with equal rights and everything. They can vote, they can do anything. And the rest is like another 6.5 or 7 million Jews. So when you think that there is injustice by the Jews who took the poor Muslim land, look at this map. Isn't that ridiculous? Now you can put the other one also, Golda.
1 second. Yes.
Okay, can you read it? It's too small for me.
Yes, we can forgive the Arabs for killing our children. We cannot forgive them for forcing us to kill their children. We will only have peace with the Arabs when they love their children more than they hate us.
Okay, when was she prime minister?
Okay.
When was she prime minister?
In the 70s.
Okay. Yes, 70s. I want to say something about this. People, they have this kind of thing. They say, oh, the Hamas, which is the Gaza people. Hamas is the Gaza people. They killed let's say, 1,000 children, Israeli children, and you went and you killed supposedly, this is what they say, I don't even believe that, you killed 5,000 Arabic children, in the Palestinian children, let's say in Gaza. So you're the villain, you're the stronger, you kill more, so you're the villain. And people completely have completely disregard the context. First of all, who started this? Who was the aggressor here? And who basically use his own people, his own children, as a human shield. Because I want you to understand, when Israel is about to blow up a building, under the building there is a base or maybe a Hamas leader. They send an empty rocket to that building to warn the people. They send text messages for the people to leave the area. They even throw away flyers the day before, tell people to run away. What army in the world does that?
Brock, I'm going to stop you right there.
Yes.
Listen, I appreciate and respect all you're saying, and I have no disagreement with you. But it's so funny that you just said they send text messages to all the phones in the Gaza. Okay? And before 2020,
in the area,
I was like, go Israel. Go, no, okay, they got all the phones. The reality is the government and the military have every phone tapped in the Gaza. And if you have an Israeli, if you have an Israeli phone number, they got your number tapped too, because Corona proved that. All right. So this is the problem I have, Barak. And I want to address this because I'm going to ask you a question. But before I ask the question, I want to actually answer someone on here. First of all, you made a statement about the American Indians. Let me put it simply this way. First of all, the indigenous people, I mock that word. I mock those people who whine and cry. I'm sorry for what the white man did to you. But you were not exactly, why do you think you were called savages? because you murdered each other. You raped each other. You took their own children of different tribes into captivity, okay, and made them slaves. All right? And let me just say, the little tribes from the American Indians came across the Bering Strait into Canada and migrated down. So all life started in the Middle East, okay, in the Garden of Eden, agree or disagree. But everybody came from somewhere. So, you know, I'm sorry for the mistreatment of humanity, but number one, that's life. Get over it. Pull up your big boy pants. I'm not talking to you. I'm saying in general. So if you get your butt kicked and your people are slaughtered, that's life. It's going to happen at one time or another, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to grow up. This whole thing about peace and harmony and spirituality is all a bunch of garbage, okay? Number two, you're right. Someone in here commented, I want to remind, and I do this with great respect and love, the Jews were kicked out, and let me say this. See, that was the wrong word to use. The Israelites were kicked out of their land twice. Now, you don't have to believe in God. That's fine. You can be a secular Jew, believe whatever you want. But the fact is, I don't care what they say about the Second Temple. The Israelites brought idolatry. They brought abomination into God's land. And you already killed the prophets like Jeremiah and Isaiah, or I may not be exactly accurate, but let's be honest here. You haven't had an exact history of purity. That it's not, maybe your chickens are coming home to roost a little bit, all right? So I'm trying to have a balance here in my thinking since 2020, because the problem I have is that I got religious Jews that say, oh, well, they're not Jews. And I'm like, why? Because they're not doing Jewish things. What does that mean? They're not doing Jewish things, okay? That's all a cover and an argument not to accept responsibility for the fact that some of your folks among you are a little wicked and evil and probably extremely nefarious that have not only murdered your people, but now want to murder the world. So I just wanted to answer that here. And Brock, here's my question to you. You know, I love good common sense because my government, and I'm a staunch Republican. I worked for Bush and I worked for McCain. McCain was a bloody murderer, and so was Bush. My government is full of bloody murder. And anyone who was part of the U.S. military, don't think for 1 second you're defending God and country. You better get out of the crazy thing. Let it all burn as far as I'm concerned. But, Barack, I want to ask you, why do you not live in Israel now? And are you vaccinated?
First of all, if I'm a friend of Shai, obviously I'm not vaccinated.
Exactly.
I was blocked on Facebook. I was blocked on Facebook for 23 months since 2020 because of my post, and I'm completely censored. And why I don't live in Israel? It's more about circumstance. It's actually since the mid-90s. And just life brought me to be where I am. I love, and I can tell you as a wandering Jew, because I travel a lot, nowhere in the world I feel home like in Israel, and I have nowhere friends, and I lived a few years in the US and so on. I don't have even one friend that is not an Israeli that is as good as my Israeli friends. Among the very few friends I do have. So there is no doubt the roots are, I'm like an unrooted tree, you know.
You know, there's these moving trees, you know, walking trees.
They
move every year. Every year they move, I think, 15 centimeters or something like that. Every year, like seriously. Anyway.
Or like in The Hobbit, the moving trees.
I want to finish what I started to say, Shai, about people. I don't know who is
Tell us, where were you born at? Where were you born
at? You can say Tel Aviv. Yeah, I lived in Tel Aviv, in the Tel Aviv area, north of Tel Aviv. I've been in Ramat HaSharon, and I was in a special unit in the Israeli army, full on, everything, in Gaza. So what I want to finish, just to say to people that there is this misconception in the world that because Israel is the stronger, and because Israel killed more Palestinians, we are the villain. And this is this is not the reality. It's like you go in the street and somebody starts shooting you and your family, and he killed 2 members of your family, and you start retaliate, and you kill 10 people from his family. And when you go to court, he say to you, to the judge, look, he killed 10 of my family members, I kill only 2 of his family members, so he is guilty. And this is how the world, the media is looking at this conflict, which is so twisted, yeah? The situation is as this, there is another saying by Golda, or I think Bibi said, the minute the Arabs will lay down their weapons, there will be peace. The minute the Jews will put down the weapon, there will not be Israel. There will be a massacre, there will be an Holocaust. So in every story, people think there must be some kind of 2 villains. To everybody take a part. In this story, we just want to live and let live. We're willing to accommodate 1.5 Muslims, Arabs inside Israel. They have no Jews in any other Arab countries. They are the apartheid, they are the racist. We just want to live and let live, but they don't let us there. But on the big scheme of things, they are the weapon in the end of the Illuminati, of the New World Order. They know that they are like savage dog. They train them to be like a savage dog, an aggressive dog, and they use their aggression, their simple-mindedness, and their religion to attack the Jews. So, of course, we have to go, and the finger is the one who holds the weapon, which is the Illuminati, the New World Order, the people inside the Israeli government, inside the deep state of the army. They are our enemy as well. But at the same time, the dog who just bite us and cut our legs off, he also have to be put down. And this is our situation.
Now, let me ask you, though. Go ahead, Sean.
Sorry, Mike. I want to say something about that and maybe move to another subject, although it's all related, obviously, but I think it's quite important what we speak about, but also other subjects are here on the table. Look, I've been listening also to some Arabs around the world talking about the situation, you know, over the social networks, etc. And it's quite good to hear. By the way, there's missiles coming on Israel while we speak, just to say, on Tel Aviv and maybe other places. So I was quite, I don't know if pleased is the word, but it was good to hear some Arab people speaking about Hamas and the barbaric actions of Hamas, and also about Israel, but more about the barbaric actions of Hamas. And to say barbaric, it's understated even, because what they have done in the Overton window, for me, they opened the gate to hell, okay? They've opened the gate for all of us to see what they are capable of. Now, maybe most of the people in the world have not seen these descriptions. I'm not saying even pictures. Some pictures were out. I've seen some of them, and I closed the computer, and it's still in my head. I don't want to see them, and I advise you not to see them because it really distorts your soul. I'm not under.
I totally agree.
It just don't watch these things, but they are there, and they have done these things. Now I can assure you, no Israeli soldier would come to a baby and behead him and burn him alive and rape his mom in front of his. We are not made of this stuff, and we were not programmed to do these things. As Barak says, yes, they trained them to be really savage dogs, and this is even a compliment for what they've done. Okay, so just to put things in perspective, we are being attacked. And this attack on the 7th of October was the most vicious one ever. Even if you compare it to other nasty wars, this is against civilians, against babies, grandmothers, children. I mean, children were kidnapped, and God knows what they're going through now. and teenagers in a party. I mean, they knew where they are heading. This was all planned for a long time. The Gazans who work in the kibbutz and the moshav of the Israelis who support the Gazan people and wanted to help them and fight for them in Israel against those who said, no, they are murderers and don't trust them. These people were hiring Gazans for many years to work for them, and they were collecting intel. They knew which house has safe and money, and whether they have a dog, and where their safe room is. And look, civilians were collecting data from houses, knowing they will be butchered. So this is really, really nasty stuff. Now,
let me ask you, Shai. Let me ask you this, because it's very hard for me to, and I do dichotomize between the two, okay? But after everything I've seen out of these people in the government, and listen to me, there's no left, right, or in the center, man. You're all freaking guilty. You're all guilty.
What do you mean guilty? Who is guilty? The Jews are guilty? The Israelis are guilty?
The entire government is guilty. The entire government is guilty of all of this.
Yes, totally.
So, yeah, here's where I have, and it's very difficult for me, where I have the real challenge as a man, as a person that loves people, that, listen, there's a lot of Arabs that are Israelis that I love. I don't agree with their ideology, but I love them because that I develop relationship. But it's very hard for me to dichotomize when things are coming out about the government's involvement that now they've censored. They will, ladies and gentlemen, these two men right here who are Israeli Jews, their government has an agenda to censor them, just like during Corona, to arrest them. They expose the government's involvement in this whole act. So, when I'm getting beat down by my Israeli, oh, what's wrong with you, Michael? We've been murdered. And I agree with you 1,000,000%. But when we're discovering, when they're bringing now U.S. Marines in, which is, we've spent enough blood and treasure in the Middle East. And this is not against Israel or the Jews, but we have an invasion on our southern border. We're done. America is finished. Okay? But when I know now that they're saying, oh, there's a whole city underneath the Gaza, I mean, I would think, again, that would be a trigger for Israelis to say, how did it get that far? Why did we let... Either Israeli military, when I see tanks, mark of a tank, soldiers being drugged from a mark of a tank, either you are the most idiotic and your arrogance to post these videos in the social media. I'm sorry. I want to say this to the Military soldiers. You're headed to a meat grinder. They're going to put you in the meat grinder and murder you. And I want to say to you young boys, and I'll stop in just a second. I want to say to you young soldiers, this is not to demoralize you. But if they can be drugged from a mark of a tank, one of the best tanks in the world, when drugged from a mark of a tank, either you're the most incompetent, cowardice soldiers in the world, or we've been lied to about how great you are.
The Israeli army has been castrated for many years. Any general, they just came out. That any general in Israel had to be approved by the U.S. before they allow him to get his rank, and they complete all this. Okay.
Barak, sorry, Michael, and all the people who are listening now, and maybe we'll see it afterwards. And it's good we are doing this show in English, because in Hebrew we've said it again and again to the same crowd, basically. So it's good to get it out in English as well. And I think it's a good discussion. It's heated, it's with emotions, but I think it's still good. We need to discuss these matters, and I think it's important. So thank you, Barak and Michael, and also all of you out there who are listening and watching. Whether we have different views, that's fine, but we all know that we want to live. We don't want to, use violence against others.
I don't want to see him die.
Nobody does. Nobody does. I want to make a point here. I don't know if I believe the stories of my people and of other people talking about my people, if you don't mind me using this, with this limited vocabulary. Frankly, and I've been saying it for many years, not just 4 years, the people of Israel have been set up for another Holocaust. Now, we are talking about Hamas is coming and we're retaliating and they are doing this. We were here first and they came after. They were here first, we came after. Listen, it's all, we can continue and arguing about that for as long as we have. Maybe we don't have a long time, but we can continue and argue about that. But we need to remember one thing, the target, the purpose is to destroy the people of Israel, the nation of Israel, not the state of Israel, but the people of Israel, and the Torah, which is the origin of the New Testament, okay? And this is the ground for all morality in, let's say, 3/4 of the world, let's say. So I put it really straightforward. Doesn't matter what you think out there. Reality, and I've been in this field of investigative, journalist, I don't know, it doesn't matter how you phrase it, for 15 years now, and Barak for 20 years. And we were, sorry guys, we were spot on so many times. I don't want to say it. It's not for me to say about myself, so let me say about Barak. He was right so many times, and he nailed it on the head so many times, okay? And I can tell you one thing for certain. The target has always been, since the establishment of Israel, a new ghetto for the Jews, and to kill the Jews, and to dilute them with other nations, and to ruin the Torah, the basis of all of us, or the majority of us, and to bring in another set of rules, Illuminati rules, which are totally the opposite. Sorry. Totally the opposite. I'm like Michael talking with my hands, and totally the opposite for morality. What we've seen the Hamas is doing, this is where we are heading if we will not see things straight, and if we will not support morality. Now I'm saying this because I support morality. And you don't have to be a practicing Jew fulfilling 613 mitzvah, okay, every day. You don't have to do this to be a moral guy or girl. You don't have to do all these things. You just have to be straight with God and in your heart, and not want to hurt other people. So let me tell you again, the target is Jewish people. Doesn't matter how it's turned out to be, you have to remember this. Now, the anti-Semitism that we see growing now in the world, I've been talking about this 4 years ago. When it just started with the corona, I've been saying, listen, guys, a day will come that Israel will be accused by the people, not by governments, by the people of the world for bringing the injections. The people of Israel, although it's the government of Israel, but no one will differentiate between the two, but the people of Israel will be prosecuted for that. And according to the Nevuot, Barak, Nevuah?
Prophecies.
According to the prophecies, 70 nations will come on to Israel to destroy it, and God will save it. Now, I do truly hope and pray that God will save Israel.
75%, though, 75%. If you're going to go according to biblical prophecy, 75% of Israel will be wiped out. 25%.
I know. I'm hoping to be out of the 25%.
Come to Romania. Come to Romania.
Anyway, I'm just saying, because we can continue and discuss history and archaeology and Hamas and Gaza and Muslim and Jews. The purpose of everything that you see in the world, not just in Israel. I've been saying it from day one in the corona, and I've been saying it for many years, but you have to see a bigger picture every time to realize that this is what's happening. To blame the Jews.
You're not going to change it.
I'm not going to change it, but I'm at least to open the minds for people to see that this is what's happening. You can take side if you like. You think Israel is the aggressor? Fine. You think we are good? That's fine. But after you pick side, please remember that this is temporary, because the bigger plan is to destroy the people of Israel and the Torah.
Yeah.
And by doing that, they are fighting Christianity as well. Don't mistake here. They are fighting Christianity as well, but not just yet. First, they want to ruin Israel and the Torah. So if you want to support, I'm calling you out there. If you want to support the New Testament, you want to support your morality and Christianity, and you want to support the Messiah according to you, which is Jesus Christ, that's fine. I'm not there, but that's fine. I'm not against you. But just remember, they want to destroy you as well. But you are second in line, not first. We are first. So please support us so they will not come to you afterwards. That's what I'm saying. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let me say this. I want to say thank you, agree or disagree, because, and this is exactly was my mindset before 2020 that has continued to today. My life has been changed for good and for bad for the 9 years that I lived there. My life has been changed. If I could just verbally say the beauty of the connections that I have with Israel in the time that I've been there, I don't have anything to hide, but I don't make my private life public all the time because I get a lot of threats, but not that I'm scared or anything. But I also want to say thank you. Thank you for the eternal redemption and salvation through Jesus, through the Jewish Jesus. Thank you for that. Thank you for the gift that you gave to the world. That one man that God would clothe himself in flesh to walk among us, to understand, to know our sufferings, but yet to be sinless and to be that lamb. I am very thankful for that eternal gift that you've given us. Agree or disagree?
I did nothing, to be honest. It was back then, but yes. But I want to say another thing that people are not aware of, and that's the other subject I wanted to refer to, if you don't mind, just maybe a bit longer. Look, what has been happening actually in the last few weeks, really quite recently, and I think I was the first one in Israel to point it out, and it happens to be that I'm right, but let's just say that Barak has said it, just because I don't want to say I was right. Barak was right again. And what I mean is that when the attack came, roughly 100,000 people in Israel were under Hamas control, whether because they had like thousands of terrorists inside Israel. These are not freedom fighters if they kill babies. Okay, just to differentiate here. But anyway, so roughly 100,000 Jews were under Hamas control, thousands of terrorists plus missiles or rockets coming onto Israel. So at least, and I'm not talking now about the 10 or 12 settlements that were hurt by the attack. On top of them, like other places as well, they were evicted from their homes, Okay, so a big chunk of the land of Israel, hear me out now, a big chunk of the land of Israel is now empty of Jews. This is in the south. They came close now to the center of Israel. They stay in hotels, in family houses, in tents, wherever. Now they are now building a tent city in Eilat, in the south of Israel. Okay, second part. Roughly 125,000 people are being evacuated in the last week from the north of Israel. The government of Israel have decided to, not just Kiryat Shmona, from the western Galil to the eastern Galil, 5 kilometers from the border. This is a sovereign state of Israel evacuating its people from the south and the north into the center of Israel, a very small dot on the map like we saw on the picture, and in this small dot we have 1.5 million Arab people among us, okay? So, and by the way, Arabs were not evicted, only Jews are being evicted from their homes, from their villas and trees and houses and kibbutz and moshav. They were on the border. They were put there by our government 40, 50, 30, 60 years back. Now they are all being evicted. We're talking about roughly 125,000 people from the north, including cities, including towns, okay? Now, I've been saying something like that. This whole attack, war, okay, doesn't matter now how it's evolving. The main purpose is Agenda 21.
Yeah.
This is a world agenda, and the main purpose is to evacuate people into towns, cities, buildings, flats. No more land, no more private property. I bet you know the stuff, the details. So again, Israel is first. Now it happens to be that it's not a virus, an injection. Now it's sadistic attack or war plus evacuation for your own good, for your own safety, like it was with the injection. Now again, it's for your own safety, for your own good. It's to look after you. Now, hang on, for fuck's sake. Hang on. You've been telling us we had the strongest army. We had the strongest weaponry. You don't need to bother. You stay where you are. We fight for you. We have the strongest whatever. And now you're telling us to evacuate our homes? Now, where these people go to? Again, hotels, Airbnb, tents, and family houses. They want to host them for now. Now, the government is saying, we will pay for this. And they are paying for each guy or girl or boy or whatever they are paying. Where the money comes from after billions of dollars were taken from us during the last 4 years. More money. Where this money is coming from our grandchildren, if they will be here to see it and to pay for it. What I'm saying is that we can keep arguing about many subjects, but the agenda keeps rolling, and we are playing, by arguing, we are playing into their hands. We are on the same page. You want to believe Jesus, believe Jesus. I want to believe Moses, I believe Moses. Doesn't matter, because they want us fighting, they want us arguing, and not to see that the agenda is being rolled on. Now, I've been saying it to David Icke. I've been saying it to other broadcasts I did with Barak. People need to see this, especially the people of Israel. And again, Michael, unfortunately, and unfortunate not just for me, for all of us and for all of us around the world, because when the people of Israel can wake up, I hope they wake up, although most of them are injected, things may start to change. But most people, happily or sadly, but voluntarily, are evacuating their house, their homes, their livelihood, their trees. The trees they planted, they evacuate. Now, you know, Michael, who is not evacuating? There's a Druze settlement in the north. Druze, yeah? They are also on the border, and they were told to evacuate. They said, are you kidding? We are not moving anywhere. This is our home. This is our land. We live here for a long time with you Jews, but we are not going anywhere. What they have done, they have sent their wives, mothers, grandmothers, and children to a safer place in another Druze village or town inside of Israel, and they stay there ready to fight. When the Lebanese or terrorists or Syrians or Iranians, whoever come and want to take their home, they will fight. And I'm saying something like that. And that's my point, really, after saying all this. That's my point, not just to people in Israel, Jews or not, but to all over the world, because we are fighting an evil agenda, okay? I'm saying something like that. Just imagine that the government is telling the people to evacuate, okay? And obviously they had to create this really bad attack in order to scare people. Similar to a corona, just again, upscaling it a bit. So government saying to people, please voluntarily leave your houses for your own safety and security. Now just imagine this scenario, that the man, the Jewish man of the border of Israel, okay, they would do what the Jews are doing, the Jewish people. My mother, my wife, my children, I'm sending them to a safer place, and we are preparing with weapons here on the border, and we are telling the government, we are not moving. We are telling the people of Israel, come and join us. We are here on the border ready, and we are telling Hezbollah and all the terror organizations or the armies of the world, we're telling them we are not moving anywhere. We are not moving anywhere. We are here to fight. What message this is sending outside of Israel and inside of Israel?
Listen, I'll tell you, my heroes, when I started the research, there were three kinds of Jews that in 1930s, Adolf Hitler rise to power. They're the religious, the secular, and the freedom fighters. And because most, and I'm going to make my point, but most during that time, there were very few that fought back. There were very, the ghetto uprising, okay, that was nothing compared to the overall. No one made you wear an armband. I'm sick of the victimhood mentality. No one made you sit and take a tattoo. Period. All right? But the ones I loved that warned, they begged, they pleaded, please listen to us. He's coming to power. The secular Jews said, no, we got our money. We pay taxes. We're loyal to the state. We have World War I Jewish German heroes in our family. And the religious Jews said, we're waiting on God. And the secular Jews said, we're not like them. We're not like them. Guess who ended up? So at the end of the day, the partisans. See, that's how I see you guys. You are my heroes. You are my heroes. You're my heroes. And so what is shocking to me is the fact that, you know, right now there's a lot of videos going around the social media. I have these American Jews say, we're not like the Jews during the Holocaust. We are fighters. What is it? The Zion freedom fighters, whatever, in the United States. Stop anti-Semitism. Let me say this to the American Jews, you big tough guys with your stupid Harley Davidson motorcycle, your coward vaccinated Jews in the U.S. who have a lot of big mouths, okay? You got a big mouth. So why don't you do this? Get off your stinking Harley Davidson in South Beach, Florida, with all your little Jewish Zionist tattoos and come over to Israel and go to the north. Because obviously, any man who complies with what the government wants and leave your home that you worked for, this is our land. Listen, I hope you understand where I'm coming. It's all the talk. Listen, it's a joke. So if you're a big bad Jew in the United States, please, I hope that the blood squirts from your eyes, because I'm so sick of this talk that I see on the social media. Get your butt over to Israel. Vaccinated, unvaccinated, do not go. Because if you're vaccinated, you're dead already. So get your vaccinated little tattooed Harley Davidson ride, South Beach living. But see, I get and I refrain from using foul language. Get over to northern Israel, defy the government, and go up with the Druzim and fight. Otherwise, you're filthy, disgusting, cowardice, spineless Jews. Vaccinated. Unvaccinated, I have a love for you. Go ahead. It's just, I'm so sick of the BS. I'm so sick of it.
Of course.
I've been on the front lines of war. I've been in the room with terrorists. Okay, I've got documented. All right. So I just all this talk. You know, you people in the U.S. You're disgusting. You couldn't even make Aliyah. Okay, even if you left Israel, the fact that you couldn't even make Aliyah. Go ahead.
And you know, Michael, you mentioned before the American soldiers coming to Israel. You know, a year ago, even less than a year, we heard that Ukrainians are coming to Israel. Okay, and we were thinking, like in the alternative media arena, we were thinking, right, they are bringing Ukrainian soldiers to enforce the police force and the army force in Israel for the Jewish ghetto. And now the new rumor is that the American soldiers are coming actually to do exactly that, what we thought the Ukrainian people are coming to do. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just saying, I agree with what you're saying. If now, just imagine if more people, Jewish people, or those who love Israel, will come to Israel saying, we come to Israel, we want to fight for Israel, you know, we want to stay here, we want to make Israel strong, not because we want to make the government strong or for the agenda to keep rolling, but we want to save the people of Israel from its own government. We want to save the people of Israel from the global agenda because we know Israel is first. And Israel is, when Israel goes down, whoa, this is a domino effect. Now, I do want to see, I'd love to see their plans falling and failing, and the people in charge of their plans falling and failing. And normally I don't wish for anyone to die, but listen, these guys, they need to perish. And you know, we have this saying, we have to delete or erase Amalek from the world. So all those who try to work for Satan, we have to erase them from the land. Now, it doesn't matter if they consider to be Jews, Muslims, Christians, with the Vatican, Illuminati. It doesn't matter all the sects and the wordings. What we need to, if you don't have morality and if you don't follow God, okay, it doesn't matter what you wear and the length of your beard. It's not relevant. What's relevant is that you need to stay straight with God. Yashar El, straight with God. Okay? Israel is Yashar El, straight with God. If you are not, it's time for you maybe to go. Now, I believe that God is in charge of everything. It's just sad for me to see so many bright people taking injections, you know, acting stupid. It's really painful for me, heart-aching to see thousands, more than 125,000 people leaving their homes for a propaganda, just because they were told and asked to evacuate. Please go and take your shot. I don't want to. Well, you cannot buy food. Okay, I will go and take my shot.
I mean, I can't even wrap my mind around. Listen, I want to say, you got this guy, okay? He's an Australian Jew for Rebel Media, okay? You got this guy, Avi Yemeni, running around the South. What a jackass. First of all, he had every chance at Davos, Switzerland, for his people to confront Albert Bourla. But he was too much of a Jew coward to speak up for his own people when he fought in the military against Albert Bourla and said, why did you use Israel first? Second of all, he's down there in the South. Listen, every year since 2012 to 2022, I was where there were rockets. Okay? I never once went to a bomb shelter. I'm a journalist. I never wore a helmet to protect myself. I am a journalist. So, Avi Yemeni, you coward Jew, come on my show. I'll challenge you and your little vaccine and all your garbage that you spew, okay? come on my show. I never wore a security vest, okay, or a helmet. He's running into bomb shelters. So my point is that I'm shocked that Jews are so obedient, because you're very good at being disobedient to the rest of the world, to the goyim, okay? But by God, when it comes to your own people, you just, man, you bend at the knee. You will go down on your face if it's one of your own, and you will obey. Anyway, I'm done.
I happen to agree here. I mean, I was raving about this for 4 years. How come you're so obedient? I mean, what's wrong with you guys, you know? But it's true also for the majority of the world. But it happens to be that Israel is first in the injections.
But Shai, here's the thing. Here's the problem I have. Someone asked me, one of my friends, you're obsessed with us. Let me tell you something. When I grew up in the church, I had my degree in theology, okay? When all I hear about my whole life is having, and I'm going to say this, it was shoved down my throat, the Holocaust. And that's fine, okay? And the Bible and the Jews are the chosen ones. But let me tell you something. When I saw 2020, and I was like, this is a sick, pathetic joke. Not all other people didn't understand why it was so easy to talk. I understand why. When I got 3 Hebrew boys in Babylon that all their family, you better bow. You better bow. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you better bow. You're going to get us in trouble. They said, "O King." I don't care if he's Jewish or not. They said, "O King, what do we have to answer thee? There is one true God, and we will bow down to him only, not to your idol." You know the story. So this is why it's like so pathetic out of you men in Israel, okay, that all ran your little dirty vaccine that you're dead meat. They murdered you at the hands. And now you're leaving your homes. You are cowards. And I hope this video goes viral from the goy. And you get so angry that you want to murder me because you hate the truth so much. Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay, so just to put, you know, to put things in perspective, many people in many countries, especially the white countries, have taken these jabs. So they are stupid as well, at least like Jewish people. The other side of what you say, I totally agree, because they leave their homes, and I wouldn't leave my home. I would stay here even with this, you know.
You have a cat?
Whatever other things.
Oh, I thought you were going to pull up a cat. I thought you were going to pull a cat up.
I'm just, you know, I have.
Brock, you got it on mute, brother. You got it on mute.
Yeah. Shy.
But hang on, just to say, like they have tried at least to disarm civilians in the States, they have been doing quite a good job here in Israel. Not just in the south where the attack happened. They, like weeks before, they disarmed a lot of people in the south, in the settlements in the south. They've taken rifles from them, all right? So they were doing this probably purposefully, but generally speaking, in Israel, they've managed to disarm many civilians. So now we, the people, have no weapons to protect ourselves. And this is like a major thing. Now, I applied for a license for a weapon. To be honest, I don't think I will get one, not because bureaucracy, just because they don't care about me. Why should I have one if they want me dead, you know? Doesn't make sense. So I stick to my machete and my knife and my axe, and I pray and I hope for the best.
Amen. Yeah.
Yes, Barak.
So I think that one of the reasons Israelis are so obedient is because they cannot comprehend, they cannot accept that a fellow Jew will do it to another Jew. More than any other country, there is a very strong solidarity here. We all go through the army, which is 3 years that we sleep in tents next to each other. You can be coming from a rich family or from a poor family. You sleep in the same tent, you eat in the same dining hall, you shit in the same place. So there is this kind of brotherhood, and they cannot believe that the people which are in power now, which is Bibi, who used to be a soldier in a special unit, I used to be in the same base that his unit used to be, and they are all like neighbors. You know, it's not like the Bush family that they are billionaires that have mansions and you cannot even get to them, like the common people. Here, still, they are common people. You know, Bibi is a millionaire now, but in the beginning, he used to sell carpets or furniture in Israel. Yeah, so people feel this is his brother supposedly died in a war in Israel in some operation. He is himself like used to be a soldier in a special unit, and so on and so on. The other people, and we cannot believe that these people can do intentionally, knowing that they are doing it to the fellow Israelis. And this is why there is, I think, a lot of trust and obedience. And I can tell you that even for me, I kind of look carefully at their face with this belief, how come these people that are like one of us can do this to us? And I have no clear answer. It's becoming so unbelievable that I'm starting to think about clones, about reptilian takeover, about possessions. I cannot understand how it is possible, and I think this is one of the reasons that Israelis are so cooperative with the leadership here. And another thing, Israel is a traumatized nation, and there is all kinds of psychological patterns of traumatized people that are absolutely are more obedient to the leadership and stuff. And we are also, another last thing in this context, we are also in a predicament because, like in the US, you can make a revolution. You can come, you can take the government out and stuff like that. The bikers, everybody have weapons. In Israel, if we have for a few days, a few hours, if the government is down, all the terrorists, all the Arabs around us going to say, "Opa, we have our opportunity. They have a war inside. The army is not functional. Let's go and destroy all of them now." So this sword is above our head all the time, preventing from us to go crazy and go to the government like you suggested, and I feel like it too, and take over. So this is our situation, just to explain why I think it's that like that.
Can I add to that? I want to add to that because
Please.
I have traveled for 2 years to Eastern Europe, and I do on the street interviews. And so, funny enough, Macedonia and Serbia both had only 1 month of lockdowns. They had no guns there. They literally overthrew the police and the government, and there was like only 1 month of lockdowns. It's shocking for me as an American because we're such cowards in the U.S. We talk so, we don't know jack. Okay, we're idiots in the U.S. and I love my country and the people, but people were very shocked about Israel because one of the questions I would ask is, which country is most vaccinated, most sick? And listen, it's shocking. They would say Israel. And then I asked, did you take the next question was not in this order, but I would ask them if they're vaccinated. They would literally laugh and say, "Are you crazy?" And they were in shock because there were two things. I'm glad you said what you said, because from the non-Jews and many times from Christians, they would ask three questions. Number one, we thought the Jews would be the first ones to stand up to this. Number two, we know that here's a fact, that there are Jews that run big pharma. And they would ask, why would a Jew hurt another Jew? I thought it was in the Bible that they were not supposed to do this. And the third question they would ask me, Michael, are they trying to get back at us for the Holocaust with these injections? It was shocking, the revelations I had. And it's very sad because, and I would say, no, wait a minute. Let me tell you the people I fought with. Let me tell you about who I fought with. Jews I helped leave Israel because they lost their job. They lost everything. When I interviewed Israeli Jews in Serbia that risked everything in 2020 to get out. And I want to hook you up with them, Shah, to interview. But, you know, it's listen, again, you know, that they're, and I want to say this to those watching, they're using, we can say they're not Jews. It doesn't matter. You can have that argument with them all day long. But at the top of the pyramid, at the top of whatever, the building, whatever, they are using their own first. Bernie Madoff, Sam Bankman-Friedman, two of the biggest financial scandals in the world, used their own people first as the victim, and then step on their blood in murder, in rape. And then they say, if you open your mouth, you're not one of us. You open your mouth, you're an anti-Semite. You hate the Jews. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's completely disgusting.
Right. I was thinking to wrap it up, I think, for one day. I think it's enough for now. You can, you know, if you have something to say for closure, that's fine, although I think we've discussed quite a lot. I just want to say that if any of you out there would like to support me and my work, I would be really happy. It's been 3 weeks now. I didn't even bring 1 shekel home because, you know, everything stopped. So I just put a link for support. I think it's in Hebrew, but you can, you know, put one time or for every month or how much you want. It's up to you. And thank you if you do. And thank you even if you're not. It's fine. You know, I'm still here and I'm still doing my stuff.
And if you donate, do it before the government shuts the bank down.
Yes, that will be better. If you have something to say for closure, Barak and Michael, that's great. And I want to thank you for being here. I think it was important discussion. Yes.
Well, just for the people who watch this to understand that the Jews are a scapegoat. Maybe in the Nazi camp, they used to have Jews that were collaborators with the Nazis, and they are considered to be traitors. We call them Judenrat or Capo. And so those people that you see in the media and the corporation and all, that they are so-called Jews, but they are like harming Jews, and then they're harming also the rest of the world. They are your enemy and our enemy. We are both the people, we are both the victims of those people. So just know that we have the same enemy, so we should unite against them. That's it.
Thanks.
I want to say thank you. Listen, I know I can come across as angry, and I'm not bitter. That's the difference. I don't have a hard heart. I just, you know, I've done all my crying for the most part. I got all the tears out of me a long time ago. And now I'm in fight mode 24/7, 365. And I want to say thank you to everybody that watches. I love you guys. My heart is with you. My spirit, my energy, my fire and my soul is with you. And I know that we're not feeling it here in Eastern Europe like they are in Western Europe or in Israel. But the wave is going to hit here soon, and I'm helping. And any Jews that want to get out of Israel, I will help you. There are contacts I have all over Eastern Europe. We are in place. I'm not going to say things will be smooth. I can't guarantee everything, but we will do our best to help you. Go ahead.
Thanks, Michael. And you know, it reminds me, I mean, you've been offering me a few times to come to Romania or wherever, and thank you for that. And just to say, you know, a quick story, when my mom ran away from the Nazis, she was hidden with her sister, with a younger sister. She's not with us anymore, her sister, in a Christian house. And they, as little girls, they used to pray every night to Jesus for, I don't know, a few months. I think they were hiding there in this house. And after that, they were picked and came to Israel. So just to say, it's not the first time that a non-Jewish is trying to save or trying to help or offering help for a Jewish on the run, for a Jewish man on the run. So thank you for that. Thank you for offering. Not taken for granted. Seriously, Michael, I'm just saying it to you and in front of everyone. Thank you very much for that. You are a supporter, regardless of what people may say, and it's good that we also discuss this matter here for you, for me, and for the rest of us to hear and see. It's quite important at these times to know where one's heart is. Thank you very much for everyone and all the comments here, whether you like what we say or not. Thanks for being here. Thanks for commenting. It's a hard time for everyone, and we are all going through our phases. More mind, more heart, more compassionate, more angry. That's fine. We are just human. But please remember that we are all on the good side, okay? We are all being played to an extent. And before 2020, we may, I come to visit your country and all was great. And now things they become hectic, they become more dense. And we need to remember that we are being played, and just try and be light in your heart and sing and pray and do good things. And I'm saying it to myself first of all, and then also to you publicly. Thank you very much. And I think you want to block Rolf from your group.
Rolf, shut up. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Shut up and pay attention.
Michael, thank you very much. May God bless us all. I mean, I know God bless all of us, and God is one and He is great. And just remember that, and sing and pray. And thank you very much. And yes, we are going to win. It just takes some time. Thank you very much. All the best to all of us. God bless us all. Bye-bye, guys. Bye.